Okay, so tell me what was at Isili. Isili is it the Air Force base?
It was the Air Force base, the transport base, because the fighter base was in Nanyuki.
Okay.
So Isili had all the buffaloes, they were called caribous. You know the big thing that you see flying over Isili? That's what they had then.
Okay.
And it also had the initial training school called the Flying Training School, where we started as a cadet, like the Wilson initial training schools, with a little propeller aircraft, which was called a Bulldog.
Okay,
British
so
aircraft.
I love it. Let's now walk me slowly. I am so Kenyan, but I'm illiterate when it comes to the aviation industry. Okay. So I'm going to ask a lot of questions just about what's this. No. So where we are in the story, you've gotten selected, and you're 30 of you who've gotten selected. I've heard about the rigorous process that it's cost rigorous but fair. I love the fact that it was fair. So what happens now, and what year is this?
So this was in 76.
76, okay.
So once you are selected, we were sent to Lanette for the military training at Lanette Training Center. That's where you learn to march, to salute. We did a lot of running. You learn how to shoot. You learn the military drills. Oh. They instill the discipline in you, where you must always follow the order, ask questions later. So we did...
Where's Lanette?
Lanette is in Nakuru, just outside Nakuru.
So the police go to Kigajo?
Yeah, Kigajo, and the military goes to Lanette.
Lanette,
yeah.
Okay.
So that's where we were. Very intense and hard, because you are on your feet all the time. And on 2 nights, you are left in Nakuru National Park with just a panga. It's to see how you survive. You have a panga and you have a sleeping mat. I think today, I don't think they do that. But and they'll drop you, they'll drop one here and drive another few miles, drop another one. So you really had no communication. You're on your own.
It's not that they're leaving you in a group.
You're on your own. You just waited on your thing. You have your panga, praying and hoping nothing happens. Then the following day, they come around picking you up. Back, it was like to toughen you up.
So you're how old are you at this time? If you said 56, so that's 20.
50. How old was I then?
You're born in 56, huh?
56.
So this is 76. So it's 20.
20.
Okay. Yeah. So
you're a young man. Never really been away for too long with strangers.
This is definitely not your bed being ironed.
Yes.
This is real life.
Yeah, it's real life.
And so the whole militaries, there are people who are training for different posts.
Yes, all of us were there. There was Air Force, Navy and Army. We all trained together.
Okay, so the three...
Air Force, we were lucky that they were expanding very rapidly. So they needed the Air Force cadets back to get into flying. So we did 8 weeks. The Army guys were doing 6 months, the Army, the Navy guys. So we only did 6 weeks. So they were needed, because that's when now they were expanding, getting the F5 program, the fighter jets. So we were on accelerated program.
Okay.
Thank God. Otherwise, it would have been there for a very long time.
Okay, so what happens after the 6 weeks now?
So after 6 weeks, we came back now to Isli at the flying training school, and we started our flying.
Okay.
So on the small Bulldog, we had our instructors there.
Okay. Even before that, what did you have to have done well in? Like during the selection process, for example, because it's not like you wanted to be a pilot.
No.
So if you had gone there with just biology without physics,
they were looking at maths and physics. Maths and physics, and of course English for being well spoken.
Okay.
That's what they were looking for. So when they look at certificates, you don't have this. And geography was a big subject as well. Yeah.
So maths, English, and geography at the time is what they were looking at.
Yes.
So you must have done well.
I did well in those. I did okay.
Okay, you don't have to say we know. You made it through out of thousands. And you're saying thousands of people actually applied.
There were so many, but by the end of the process, we were only 30.
Well, that means you You were the 30 best of everybody was there. Okay, so tell us about a bulldog. So they begin training you at
Eastleigh
with a bulldog.
With a bulldog.
Okay.
It's like a Cessna, small single prop, and we did a ground school, of course. You do aviation stuff, you do aerodynamics and how an aircraft flies, the forces of lift and drag, how you get airborne, engines, how does an engine work, an aircraft engine. So you do all that initially on the ground.
And you do that for how long? Every day?
You do it simultaneously with the flying.
Okay.
So you have a class day in the morning, afternoon you're flying, or vice versa.
Okay.
So that's what we did.
But the first plane that you enter in is the bulldog,
It's
where
a
you're being
bulldog.
trained, of course.
Correct.
How are you feeling at this time? Are you like, this is what I want? Are you excited?
I
Because throughout your story, I've not had it like you had planned to be a pilot.
No, I had not planned. I think today, and I think it was different then. I think today, because of TV, internet, we didn't have a TV. So how do you even think of a pilot? Or you just see an aircraft that is way beyond you don't even know what happens in there. So mine was purely accidental. I just saw cadets. And to be honest, I didn't know they were flying cadets, because some cadets were admin. Cadets is the initial thing before now you become a second lieutenant, captain, major. So the initial thing, you're a cadet. It just so happened it was flying cadet, so I lucked out. I lucked out. I lucked out and got through the process.
Yeah.
Okay,
so now you're beginning to learn all of this stuff, and you're saying you guys were on an accelerated program.
We're on accelerated because Kenya had signed a deal with the US for the F-5 fighters. So they needed people to go and train. So again, it was just pure luck.
What?
So out of the 30, they selected 14 of us. I was in the second group. We're 3 groups of 5. I was in the second group. We're now, after they did a selection process, now flying, now they're checking skills, coordination. So the ones who are doing better were now selected to go on the jets. So within 4 months from leaving Lanette, we're on our way to the US.
No way.
Yeah, again, God, luck, right place at the right time.
This is super acceleration. I say that because I was in University of Port Elizabeth. Next to University of Port Elizabeth, there's Port Alfred. And I know a lot of the KQ pilots
were training there.
Were training at Port Alfred. And I'm talking about them spending 2 years time there before even coming back home. So for yours...
But the Eastleigh bait was just to select.
Yes.
Because you're 30 pilots, you're 30 young guys. So who do you pick? So now we did 40 hours, and they found now who are performing better. So that's how they were selected. But when we went to the US on the jet, we started from zero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was not.
This was just finding out who can we send.
Yeah. It's like an exam. The ones who pass now can go. Yeah.
I fully understand.
In the US, we started from zero. They assumed you know nothing, which was good.
But I need to ask this. That means, can you remember your first time in a plane? And I'm talking about, even if it's training, can you remember the whole feel?
Yes, and I remember my instructor. My instructor was a man called Kisoso. Very tall guy, a Maasai, and very intimidating. But, he was like a gentle giant. I remember the first time he did the takeoff. I was too mesmerized, looking out and seeing, wondering, what's happening. It was, I still remember my heart beating, boom, boom, boom. I remember nervous, of course. And but he put me at ease. We went out. The first lesson, you are just it's called an air experience. You go, then it shows you if you hold the control, if I do this, it will turn this way. If I do this, it turns that way. And then it says you look out, when I pull, it will climb. The lesson is called effects of controls. And then when I push, the nose will go down, and it shows you, look at the speed is increasing, look at the altimeter, it's decreasing, you are descending. If I do this now, altimeter is increasing, very basic. So that's the lesson 1, it's called effects of controls, which I later now came to do much when I became a mwalimu, an instructor at the flying training school.
What did that feeling, what was that feeling like? Was it like, this is it? For you to be in this thing for 44 years, there has to be something that's...
I think after the first day, I just felt at ease. I felt comfortable.
Okay.
I felt comfortable, and I moved quite fast because there's something they call a solo flight. That the first time you go up alone. So I was not the first, but I was like the third guy to go solo, and we'd all stand there and cheer him. Solo means you're my instructor, so we go together.
Okay.
Then you reach a point, you say, you're okay. You can now be able to take off on your own, go out, cruise, and come back and land. It's called a solo flight. And it's very, I think every pilot will tell you that is the most, I don't know how to describe it. Any other flight after that, whether it's a 747, Airbus, it doesn't matter. But that initial solo flight, you are in the air alone.
Alone?
You're alone, because mwalimu has now figured you're okay. I've shown you how to take off, how to climb, cruise, come back and land. And he leaves you alone. And he goes to sit in the tower.
And he's talking to you.
He's talking to you, so that if you get nervous, he's saying, okay, calm down, turn left, do this. Some people have gotten a bit nerved, and they are talked down. Say, okay, take it easy, calm down, you're okay, turn left, descend. They talk them down.
Okay.
So that happens.
The media industry, if I make a mistake and, for example, forget to switch on this camera, this microphone, that's not a life and death mistake. We can repeat the conversation.
Yeah.
Your first, a mistake, landing, taking off, this is a life and death situation.
Yes, but by the time you reach there, I think he has shown you and he has figured you can do it.
Okay.
There's something we do which we call incapacitation, where I pretend I'm dead. I'm with you, but I say, we take off and I keep quiet to see what you do. So you're talking on radio, you climb, then you announce, you declare an emergency, and you say, my instructor has died, then the tower will guide you, come back. So he'll do a dummy run like that, just to pretend he's dead, he's just doing nothing, and come back and you land. Then he figures, if you can do that, then I don't need to be here, I can be away, but it's still very nerving.
I get it.
Yeah.
What's in this at that time? This is such a good convo. Thank you so much. So many questions I've had that I've always wanted to ask. So, for example, landing. Till today, for me, I'm not worried about the takeoff, but I'm like, what's the hardest thing at that time for
landing?
Landing.
Landing.
What is it about landing that makes it difficult from a pilot's perspective?
I guess there's not two landings that are the same.
Whoa.
Because there are so many. You have the effects of the wind. It will change with the weight you have, the speed. The airport, of course, there are some places that are very, very tricky. Like in Zauzi, it's a small, it's not a small, but there are some hills on this side, there's a sea on this side, and so there's a lot of crosswinds. But the landing, because you have to coordinate, you're coming to the ground, there's a ground effect, what they call ground effect. The density of the air is changing. You have to control the speed. If you go below a certain speed, you'll stall out of the sky, and the aircraft will. So there's a lot of coordination, and keep straight on the runway. so that you don't run into the grass, which happens once in a while. You land and you get into the grass, so that happens.
Okay, let's continue with this story. I love it. So you become one of this 1,000 people is now down to 15. So you get selected as part of the group that is going to go to America. This is how long after the initial selection, or how long after you've come back to base for training?
3 months.
3 months.
3 months. 3 months. It was very, very quick. They needed people ASAP. So again, like I said, we were just lucky.
Kenya was getting these planes. Kenya had nobody in Kenya to train people how to fly these planes. So these people needed to go. They needed to go.
So they picked us, the cadets, and they picked a few senior people who are already flying the transport aircraft at Isli. But the majority were us very, very brand new people. One of the first groups was Geshangi. Was a group ahead of me. Geshangi was NSIS boss. He was the group that had left earlier before me.
Wow.
That's the only person maybe you know that is still there. And then we later sat on the F5 together for many years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're off. Where do you go to?
We went to Texas.
So your first time flying out of Kenya, you're off to the States, Texas.
Went to a place called Del
Rio, Texas,
which is near the Mexican border.